Alright, continuing with our series of silent films from the Oz Film Manufacturing Company, His Majesty, the Scarecrow of Oz is definitely one of the weirdest ones in terms of not just continuity, but internal logic. You'd think that this film was an adaptation of L. Frank Baum's book The Scarecrow of Oz, but actually, the film came out first. Yeah, imagine that. Baum used this film as an opportunity to work out some of the kinks in the story and to adapt scenes from some of his earlier books, such as the scene with the Scarecrow getting stuck on a river rafting pole which was lifted from The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. Interestingly enough, a trope of later Oz adaptations would be to stick Dorothy into stories from the books that she never appeared in, but here L. Frank Baum is doing that himself all the way back in the silent era. Again, imagine that. But how is the film itself? Well, because it is a hodgepodge of ideas, it doesn't feel very cohesive. It tends to drag, and it doesn't really do a whole lot special, especially relative to what we'll see later on in Oztober. But one of the strangest things about it is how often the Scarecrow comes in contact with water. Obviously water wouldn't hurt the Scarecrow in the way that it would the Tin Woodman, but wouldn't it make him soggy and threaten to wash his straw away? There are a lot of little weird things like that, but then again, people didn't have the CinemaSins mentality back then where they were deliberately looking for things to pick apart. Overall, there's not really a lot to say about this particular Oz film except for two things that really stuck out to me. One is the donkey, who has a lot of little funny moments with his ears because they can actually move this time. The other standout moment is a scene where our heroes encounter the witch Mombi. The Tin Woodman cuts her head off with his axe. Allow me to repeat that. The Tin Woodman, in this 1914 silent film, decades before the Hays Code, decades before the MPAA, and decades before nosy 90s parents and internet outrage culture, cuts the witch's head off with his axe. That moment alone deserves its own award, I'm serious. Granted, she reattaches her head right afterwards, so she's fine, but come on. This Tin Woodman is more hardcore than any of the other ones that we're gonna see this month, for that reason alone. Even the Terminator wouldn't mess with him. So yeah, check this film out. It's the one where the Tin Woodman cuts a witch's head off. What else do I need to say?